Hey everybody, this is Mr. View, and this is World History Day 3. This is actually September 2nd, which is a Wednesday. Nice. So, yesterday we talked a little bit about Judaism, and the day before we talked about Paleolithic and Neolithic people. So, hopefully you remember all that stuff. Remember that Paleolithic is the old Stone Age, which means a Neo is that's right, the new Stone Age, Neo, new. We talked about in Neolithic age, the farming was such a major development and invention, if you will. People lived longer. They didn't have to move in search of food like those nomads who had really rough lives. So farming had a humongous impact on the world. We talked about cultural diffusion yesterday, which are two big words, but it's really simple. It's basically trading ideas or stuff from one place to another. Cultural diffusion, thinking trade, right? Think trade of ideas and beliefs and customs. We also discussed polytheism. Most of the major religions at that time were polytheistic. It wasn't until the Judaism came around that it was monotheistic. And monotheistic means that you believe in one God. Poly, that's many gods. So polytheism is many gods. Monotheism is just one God. Judaism, like we talked about yesterday, is the oldest of the major religions at about 2000 BC. Began in Israel, and the leader, the person who started it was Abraham. Another major player was Moses. They believe in the Ten Commandments and that they're a chosen people and nonviolence and things like that. So today we're hitting on the second big religion, I guess you could say. It's Hinduism, and it begins around 1500 BC. But some people will claim it even started way before that. But the Aryan people apparently discovered it around 1500 BC. After they think it might have been going around for a long time before that. It is a polytheistic religion, which that means once again belief in many gods, right? Polytheism, many gods. Their creator, however, the main god, I guess if you will, was a guy Brahman, and then they have many different gods like the protector and things like that. It originated in India, and there's no single founder of this. It's like if you can point to Abraham for Judaism, and you can point to Jesus Christ for Christianity. You can point to Muhammad for Islam, but really no single founder for Hinduism. That's a big difference between all those religions, right? They have a lot of different beliefs than, I guess, the other mainstream religions, other than just being polytheistic. One of which is reincarnation. And I think most of you probably know what reincarnation is. It means the rebirth of the soul. So when you die, you don't necessarily just go to heaven. In Hinduism, you're reborn. And what you're reborn as or what level you're reborn as is totally dependent on your previous life. So you're born based on how you lived your previous life. You could be reincarnated as a really great person or in the dredges of society, if you will. So it all depends on your past life. And that is karma, right? You've heard that saying, karma is a, well, that comes from this, right? This comes from this religion where your actions determine your fate. So when we say karma is a, it's because somebody did something bad and something bad happens to them, right? So in Hinduism, for instance, if you did something bad in your previous life, you're going to come back as something bad. You're going to come back as a person low in society, or you could come back as an animal or even an inanimate object like a rock or something. So the actions determine your fate. If you're a good person, you might move up that social scale. If you're a bad person, you move down. So you really got to watch out because karma is. They also believe in nonviolence, just like Judaism, just like Christianity, just like Islam. Everybody's supposed to believe in this nonviolent stuff. One of the things that is way different from Hinduism than the other religions is their caste system. It's a social ranking system, which means basically you're born into a caste and you stay there your whole life. Your caste is like, think of it as like an arm cast or a leg cast. You can't move, right? That bone doesn't move. You can't move within your caste in Hindu religion. So once you're born into the middle class, you stay middle class your whole life. you've got to stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? You got to stay in your lane. So they are not allowed to like go from rags to riches. They are stuck in that caste, just like that karma or reincarnation states. You were born into that middle class or low class or high class for a reason. It was because of your previous life. And that's why they say you stay in that caste. This is your either punishment or reward for your last life. So when they say caste system, that's how they justify treating people unequally, if you will, right? They're poor or they're mistreated because they were bad in their last life, and that justifies us treating them that way. Or we put them on this pedestal because they were really good in their last life and they deserve this. So that's a way big difference compared to like Christianity or Islam or Judaism. This is justified in their religion, right? This keeping people down or raising them up is justified. The caste system affects a lot of things. It affects like who you marry. You've got to stay within your caste to marry. You can't marry somebody who's really, really above you or really, really below you. You can't do that. So that would cause huge rifts. It also affects your job. People in specific castes have specific jobs, and you're not supposed to job hop. You're not going to, for instance, if you're born into a lower class, you're not going to be a doctor. You just stay in your caste and your list of jobs that you can do. And likewise, if you're way up here, you're not expected to work one of those menial jobs. It's beneath you in their system, right? Because of the reincarnation and karma. It also determines your friends. Just like who you marry, you've got to hang out with people within your caste. You're not intermingling the castes. It also affects where you live. There are certain parts of their areas or whatever that are better than other parts, right? Richer or more affluent. If you're affluent or if you're born into that rich caste, you got a good place to live. If you don't, you probably were bad in your last life. One cool group or interesting group is the untouchables in Hinduism. And the untouchables are the lowest caste. Although untouchable sounds like a really cool name, it's not. You didn't want to be an untouchable because those persons were the lowest of the low. And they had to walk around with a clapper. You know one of those clappers? Wave that thing. And that was to alert people to shun them. So they'd come into an area, they'd have this clapper, and everybody would kind of just ignore those untouchables. They had the worst jobs. They had obviously the worst parts of society. That was the untouchables. So you definitely didn't want to be there, even though it sounds like a cool name, right? Okay, so to sum up, today we learned about Hinduism, one of the major religions, and hopefully after this you can tell me about Hinduism and compare it to Judaism, some of the similarities and the differences. It's a polytheistic religion. It originates in India. They believe in reincarnation, karma, and nonviolence. They also have that caste system which locks you in for your entire life. And if you're good, you move up. If you're bad, whoop. All right, have a great day, everybody.